I see my sisters. I see my sisters in the house. Welcome to LoveBabz, Love Talk. I see Dr. Karen DuBois-Walton and I see Karimah Mickens Weber. Good morning.
Good morning.
Karen, unmute yourself. Karimah, I love your hair. You know, I had that hair.
Thank you.
You know, I had my blonde. A couple of years ago, I was on a Blonde Ambition tour too. So.
Good morning.
How are y'all?
Wonderful. Good to see you.
It is nice to be seen and not viewed. I will say that. I'm so glad that you all are here. We got so much good response. People were talking, buzzing about this on social media. So I'm so happy to sort of do this. So I want to, is anybody else joining us this morning? It's just you two?
No, I believe LaMara Russell will join us.
Okay.
It's the treasurer for Ella's Fun PAC.
All right, so I want to get started. So Karimah Mickens Weber is the chair. And so Ella's PAC is a political action committee that these sisters, these women started. So Karen, what was the conversation? Like, what drove you to start this? Like when you woke up one day and said, you know what I think I need to do on top of the 50 million other things I'm doing? Let me start a PAC.
Absolutely. You know, this has been a conversation that I've been having with different people for a long time about the need to build the political power in our community. And this is just a moment, right, where the whole country and this community is having a reckoning around racial inequities and racial injustice. And there's so many pieces to come to play to address the issues in our community. But one piece of that has to be our political power. Mm-hmm. And the ways in which we build political power. And so a political action committee is one tool for funding and engaging and supporting the building of political power. And we are focused on the more marginalized communities, the Black community, the Brown community in New Haven and in Hamden. And so as I thought about it, I thought about the other women that have been doing incredible political work and have shared that passion with me in different ways. And the first person I called was Karimah. So she was excited to take on the role of the chair of the PAC. And we brought on LaMara Russell. And so the three of us are either New Haven or Hamden residents, homeowners, stakeholders, constituents who just feel really passionate about building political power in our community.
So when you talk about political power, what are we talking about? Now, we're not talking about like storming the Capitol with torches. Like, what are you talking about when you say political power? Although I kind of like that idea, but all right.
Talking about the fact that every adult in this country has the right to vote. You know, save a few who've lost that right. But their most fundamental civic right is the right to vote. And we see as a country that we do not respond in the way that we should, with about half of the country turning out to vote in any given election. New Haven, on a really good election, you might see 62% of the registered voters turn out to vote. But that means that, you know, 4 out of every 10 eligible voters in our community is opting out. And then when you dig deeper into that and you look at that breakdown by community, you know, in New Haven, the more predominantly Black and Brown wards tend to have voter turnout that's more like 30%, right? So we have this ability to impact our everyday life in the decisions that are made by our elected officials that is going untapped. And it's going untapped because people are not offering things to our community that is making our community excited about exercising their voice, not making them feel like their voice matters. And so this is really about a campaign to empower our community through education, understanding the process and understanding how you fit in the process and how your voice matters. And then giving people something to be excited about in terms of candidates. So looking for those candidates that are out there, that are doing it for our community in positive and progressive ways, that are really moving forward a racial equity agenda, and giving them some support. There are grassroots leaders that, if they had some support to run through the process, had endorsement, had some funding to run, would make amazing spokespeople for our community. And so that's what we hope to do.
I was reading because you sent me the list of these sisters' bios, like I don't know them, but I do know them. There was a piece in Karimah's part that says Karimah is devoted to amplifying the voice and voting power of people of color and eliminating the fundraising challenges community members may face when running for local and state office. That is a huge piece of why folks don't run for office, because they believe that only the very rich, and historically, and we see this all the time, that only the very rich can run because they're the ones that can, amass the big war chest to launch campaigns. So Karimah, talk a little bit about that and why that is important.
Yes, I agree. Good morning, Babz. I read somewhere, and I can't remember, that 8% of the assets that African Americans use we use it for charity, right? And about 2% of our white counterparts, they donate to charity. And so when I think about it, it's like we have this huge opportunity, recognizing that charitable donations and all that is really important to our community. But if we were able to shift some of that, the donations and the things that we do there towards supporting candidates in elections, that would be extremely helpful. So, I've had many conversations with people. You think about women and what they say, like, it's really hard for women to run for office. They have to be asked, I forget the number, a gazillion times, I'll just say many more times than men. And then you add in the layer and the barrier of not being able to finance that. And so, that is one of the things that was really important to me, as we, Karen had engaged, was like, this will give us an opportunity to take that barrier out so that people, who have passion, who have those transferable skills, that are leading organizations that may not have even thought about working in a political forum, but taking away that barrier so that that's not an issue. And so that's why PAC is really important, so that we can pull in resources from our community for our people to help them run for different positions.
You make a good point, because I ran for office twice in my life and won twice in my life. And so I get to talk about these matters from a place of from lived experiences. And I kind of hover around the political spectrum a little bit. And I can tell you, white women, Black women, we don't write the big checks the way white men write big checks. White men will go to a political event and write a $5,000 check and won't blink. Women will go to political events and have to be concerned about if the lights have been paid, if the groceries have been paid. They think about all these things before they write the big checks. We'll write $100 check. We may even write a $200 check, but we're not writing those big checks. And that seems to be one of the reasons why women are a little hesitant about raising money. And secondly, I don't think women are comfortable asking for money. Men have no problems with asking money. White men wake up every day in this country and feel like, I'm gonna be whatever I want to be, and I'm gonna ask people, I'm gonna command people to give me money. Sisters wake up and we have to amass the whole diaspora to get some money. And I'm happy that this PAC is existing, so that we can sort of change that conversation, so that sisters can write big checks. So I'm excited. So LaMara, your position in all of this, and I'm reading your piece, is that you're interested in solidarity and bringing people together. And I love this, because there's so many different ways that Black people are Black people that have to be considered when you bring us together. And if folks can understand that, I think we could have a larger turnout in these voting blocks, instead of thinking of us as a monolithic movement. So talk a little bit about your rationale and reasoning for getting into this PAC. And then Karen, we're gonna come back around. You're gonna tell me why Ella, why the name Ella.
Absolutely.
Actually, I was going to add that in there too. Good morning. So basically, when Karen reached out to me, it was a key time. I actually found myself a bit outraged, upset with things going on, all the blatant disregard for Black lives, color lives, and, disparities amongst our people. And I'm just like, I'm thinking to myself, okay, it's great we have the protests and different things like that, but I'm not the one to be in the front lines, and how can I give back? How can I use my skill set to give back? My career's in finance, that's all I've pretty much knew that I know, and how can I give back with that? So Karen reached out to me and she was just like, hey, LaMara, are you interested in being treasurer? I'm just like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is perfect timing because
you can't really say no to Karen.
No.
There's that, right?
Exactly.
Let's just put that on the table right now.
Right.
There's no no to Karen Walton DuBois.
Exactly. So, it was just like, it was the perfect timing. And I was just like, I put this on my plate right in front of me because I want to do something. I want to give back in my way and make a difference. So, this has all been a great new learning experience. The thing I learned about, and I love the naming, Ella, I mean, I know that Karen will talk more about it, but, doing research and everything, Ella was key in a lot of the financial support in the Black community in regards to politics. Key fundraiser for SNCC, SCLC, all of those, even for the Urban League in Harlem, she was key in that. And NAACP, she was a key fundraiser for that, and recruiter. So that goes back to you saying the women, we a little tight on our purses, she was big on getting people to open up their pockets and support and everything. And she was really big in the movement. So I think that everything ties together. It's perfect. And I'm super excited. Like, my thing is in the New Haven community, I feel like we all have a mission that comes, like, it's all one. If we really look at it, we have different paths to getting to that, but we want the end result. We want equality. We want an opportunity to have our voices being heard. And that's what I want to do. I want us to educate ourselves. I want us to kind of get on the same path to being heard, and it starts locally. Honestly, it starts with us right here in our village, and it goes up from there. So, yeah, so that's basically that's the key part about the solidarity and the education for me. But yeah, I'm definitely happy to be brought on.
I can tell. I love the enthusiasm. Okay, Karen. So, all right. So you called this Ella's PAC, and why? And what other names were you considering?
So we're Ella's Fund PAC. There is something else in Connecticut that's Ella's PAC that's named for some other famous Ellas. So we're Ella's Fund PAC, named, as you've mentioned, after Ella Baker, who has been my longtime political shero. She was an amazing civil rights leader whose name is not as well known as it should be. Like many of the strong Black women who were the movement leaders alongside of the men that we know so well, the Dr. Kings and the A. Philip Randolphs and the C.L. Vivian or Congressman John Lewis, right? We know their names so well. Well, we need to know the names of the Dorothy I. Heights, and we need to know the names of the Ella Bakers and the Diane Nashes just as well. So she epitomized, though, participatory democracy. And that is so much what the feeling that we want to bring to this process of trying to build political power. This is not meant to be a top-down kind of process. This is really building the power of the people. And she really, one of her quotes that we've really resonated with has to do with give people light and they will find their way, right? That you can empower people, and people have the intrinsic knowledge and strength and capacity to know the direction they need to head in and to move in that direction. And our role is to amplify and to illuminate that way so that people can move forward. So she, LaMara mentioned, I mean, she was foundational in the NAACP. She was foundational in SCLC. She was also foundational in the formation of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Council. And the other piece of this that just resonates so much for me is youth. And she was so key in the student organizing that led to the lunch counter boycotts and all the work of SNCC. And it so resonates with the young people that are leading the movement for us today around Black Lives Matter and around highlighting the racial injustices. And so if we can be help to youth leadership and the development of our next generation, I think that's something that we want to bring of Ella's legacy into this as well. So there are many ways in which her life and work aligned with what we were trying to do here, and she seemed to be the perfect person to name our PAC after.
So Black women in PACs are not a known entity. What is our historical connection or commitment to this? I only know of one other PAC in New Haven of Black women, and I remember the Sojourner PAC that was started by those old days, which I still think is I think they're still very present or active. You know who I'm talking about from way back.
Sure.
The Sojourner Network PAC, and I remember the buzz around that and how excited women were about joining that and some of the work that they've done. So do you have some sense of the history and our numbers in terms of how we participate in PACs as Black women?
I can't give you any specific numbers, but I think, Karimah pointed to the fact that first of all, you far too often hear people say, "Ooh, politics, I don't want to be involved in politics," and just sort of back away from politics, especially I think in our community. Understand is the way in which politics intersects into everything. And what you're saying, you don't like, there are aspects of what people think of as politics that, rightly you shouldn't like. It feels divisive or nasty or ugly, right? But there's another way of thinking about politics. That's the way of which you bring people together around shared issues, build a constituency, and use that constituency to affect the change in your community, right? And that's a politics that is at play in every aspect of our lives and that we have to be engaged in. And so I think one is we want to make politics very accessible to our community so people understand. Often, something's wrong in the community and folks want change and they don't even have a good sense of sort of who is the person in charge that I go to make that change at the local, state, or other level. And so that community education, I think, is a big piece of it. And then, how we make politics accessible through the PAC for candidates who might want to run. So we have a website that's going to be launching in the next couple of days, and on that we have a whole host of issue statements that outline the kinds of things we support. Those are the kinds of things that we will be funding community education around and engagement around. And it also has the process by which, if you are a candidate that would be seeking an endorsement from us, the process by which you could go about that. And then importantly, because we are a political action committee, what we do is we raise money to do these things. The website includes how you can contribute to us, and LaMara can speak more to the details of that. But it is a tool for raising money, and so our website will give people access to that as well.
So are you going to be identifying candidates that you can get behind? Is that going to be a part of this? How are you going to raise awareness about this PAC with people? How are people going to know what you do? So
this is part of it, right? Being on LoveBabz, LoveTalk, and getting the word out. And it's doing, we are 5 Black women who are not going to be shy about asking people for support. So as you talked about at the beginning here that, women don't always want to ask for money. Part of this PAC is about asking people for support. So it starts with us in each of our networks and it builds out from there. As people get excited about it, we hope that they'll help spread the word as well. Through our social media, through our website, we'll be reaching more and more people. And we are a Connecticut-based PAC, so we can do local elections in Hampden and New Haven as our focus area, and we can do statewide elections for folks that are representing Hampden and New Haven neighborhoods. So that's our focus. And so in each election cycle that includes local or state elections, for folks that would be representing this community, that would be the time when our endorsement process happens, and we would be making that aware to potential candidates, letting them do our application so that we can vet them and see whose platform and whose body of work in grassroots leadership and in formal leadership whose body of work really aligns with the platform we have around ending poverty in our community, around educational outcomes for our community, around economic development, around healthcare access, around environmental justice access, right? So all of these issues that you'll read more about on our website, we're going to be looking for the folks who have a track record in that area of really serving our community in equitable ways that brings a racial justice and a racial equity frame to those. And we want to get behind them and help bring them to victory so that they can do their work at the local or state level.
And you know, it's good that you are framing this out, because you know, people get excited about the presidential election at that level, but all politics are local. It's what happens in your everyday practical lives that makes a difference. And sort of what happens is people sort of bypass the local elections and they have low turnout because they're not as sexy and as glamorous as the presidential. You know, everybody gets excited about, oh, you know, but it's really what happens at your school board level, what happens at your mayoral level, at your governor level, at your, you know, your state's state level. That makes all the difference about your everyday practical lives. And so I think this is a wonderful sort of effort to sort of help people understand what this process. Do you all find that, at least I'm starting to find that, I'm finding that less and less people understand the political process, just the way to vote and how to vote. It seems to be lost. And I would attribute that to, you know, when I was coming up, you had like social studies and civics classes. Do you know what I mean? So you learn how to that. And you know, I'm just a bill sitting on Capitol Hill. You know, I had all that kind of stuff. I don't know where people get this sort of information anymore. So I think there's a gap where people are falling through in terms of how to sort of understand our political process in this country. So speak a little bit about, do you feel like you're going to have to do some remedial work around, now I don't even know if it's remedial at this point, you got to do some kind of ground building work around educating people on how the political process works?
Absolutely, yes. One of the things that, you know, when we think about our areas, and Karen mentioned it, is definitely around education. We feel as though there's an opportunity to just get to 101 basics so that people know where to go. Who are my legislators? Karen mentioned our website, and that was one of the things that was really important to us, is to make sure that people can access the links that can get you to who, you know, in New Haven, you have your alders. In Hamden, you have your legislative council. You know, what are they responsible for? You know, understanding, you know, what elections are coming up, Board of Education members, all of those things. So yes, it is very important that we don't assume that everybody knows the process, right? So we need to make sure that we can, you know, we'll be running campaigns to share information. We're going to, you know, come up with all different types of ways to engage people and make sure that, you know, we are educating them about the overall process and how they fit into it, because we all do. And as you mentioned, all politics are local. There are a lot, you know, there are local elections that, you know, 2021, you know, in Hamden, we'll have a mayoral race, we'll have our legislative council race, you know, so these are things that we're gearing up towards, and we want to make sure that people are aware of what's coming into this so that they can figure out how they want to participate, you know, voting, and, you know, they can be poll workers, you know, all types of ways to engage in the overall process.
So it's 5 founders, 3 of y'all are here. Who are the other 2?
So our other 2 are Keisha Red-Hannons, who is a New Haven native and now a Hamden homeowner, education professional and leader in the New Haven Public Schools, and Pia Garrow, who is a New Haven business owner who's passionately committed to affordable home ownership in the city and has been doing a lot of work around that end. Okay, so it's not lost on me that y'all are Deltas. There is that.
And I count myself in that number too. And so it is not lost on me.
You know, Delta Sigma Theta is formed out of social activism, but everything we do as Deltas, we do in the nonpartisan realm. And this is something we've done separately. We are bonded through Delta certainly, but this is something we've done very separately from Delta and allows us to be engaged in partisan politics in a way to really move forward an agenda for our city and our town.
So Karimah just stepped down from being the New Haven Alumni Chapter President because we had elections and we have a new president. And so, so Karimah, it feels like to me that this is a natural trajectory to that leadership role. Talk a little bit about what this means for you and how you see this more or less still leadership.
Absolutely. So yes, just stepped down and so excited about our new leadership. So, congrats to all of the new leaders. But yes, I think that one of the things that I found out as I was just recently elected to the Hampden Democratic Town Committee in 2019. I had to think about that.
Congratulations.
So this, okay. So this year, actually, 2020. What I found, what I quickly found, is that many of the skills that it requires to play and to navigate in the political field versus in the public service field are transferable skills, right? So I definitely think it is an opportunity for leadership. I can tell you that what I enjoy about the whole process is getting to work with people. So I think, like I said, I worked in corporate America 20 years. I was, I dealt with project management, did the work, leadership in Delta. And so I think it's just the perfect timing, like LaMara mentioned. And, I've always wanted to do more in the city of Hampden. And so I'm so grateful that I have an opportunity to support both New Haven and Hampden and making sure that, we're getting people engaged in the overall process. So it just worked out perfect timing. And I'm really excited about the work we're engaged in.
Mm-hmm. So what about this climate, Karen, that makes this, because you didn't do this last year, you didn't do this the year before. What is it about this particular climate and this moment that says, you know what, this is the right time to do this?
I think it's this, in the midst of the COVID pandemic, everyone got very focused on the disparities in health, in the impact of COVID and on the health outcomes of COVID, and that raised community awareness about racial inequities. And then in the midst of that, we had the very visible, violent killings of unarmed Black Americans all across this country, all happening at the same time, which really just led to an eruption of community activism here and elsewhere and abroad, right? Focused on the fact that this country has got to reckon with its legacy and continued expressions of racial injustice and inequity. And so it's a moment where I saw a lot of amazing charitable giving happening, an amazing conversation happening, and the sort of other piece that I felt like was really needed in this moment was, how are we ensuring that all of this activism, all of this talk, all of this awareness also translates into political power? And this felt to be one way where we could contribute to that.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. So your first order of business will be what?
So our first order of business has already been increasing community awareness around census and elections. There are elections coming up. And so we want to make sure that in the midst of a pandemic that everybody continues to know, and a bit of a debacle in the last round of in the primary around the mail-in ballots. We're focused on getting information out so that people know the best ways that they can safely vote in this upcoming election. Our next order of business is certainly getting up our website with all of our position pieces out there so people see that, so that we can continue to be engaged in community education around those. And then moving into our next endorsement cycle.
Mm-hmm. So LaMara, talk a little bit about what this will mean for women in your circle, in your networks, And how do you move forward with talking about political activity to people who may not feel like politics is for them?
So I definitely agree, because I'm one of the people who say politics was not for me. So like I said, this was a stretch for me, but honestly, it starts at the heart. It really does. You have to have those heart-to-heart discussions and conversations. Right now, as Karen, as you mentioned, and Karen, it's the climate. You got to strike when it's hot. You know, everyone's seeing it. The visibility of just like the blatant disregard for basically any type of civil justice. You know, and so for my circle, it's more or less having those girlfriend conversations, and just
What
you know,
is that?
is that?
I'm sorry. It's like this.
Sorry, that's my
Oh,
my
right.
Mac, my phone.
Oh, because you know, I was about to say, Harry, are the Russians coming for us again? We have a running joke. She's like,
So
disrupt this show.
right, sorry, that's my Texas. I tried to turn it over, it didn't work. But so basically, just the foundation, just laying that foundation, those talks and education. People aren't comfortable speaking about things they're not well versed on or not aware of. So we have to raise that, provide that visibility. I know that we have had some experiences in, you know, just like some of my girlfriends, they actually, they protest, they actually go out, and some blog, and, you know, and I joined a PAC. So, you know, so we're all coming from different angles, but we want all the same change, you know. I'm not sure if you want me to speak about how people could actually donate and contribute.
You can say, girl, you better go ahead. Come on now.
Okay, so let me just tell you a little bit about the PAC, being that it's a state political action committee. We do have certain stipulations and restrictions, but we only accept funds from individual PACs and other PACs in Connecticut, from the state of Connecticut. So individuals can contribute up to $1,000 per calendar year. So up until 12/31, you can donate $1,000. Now, as of January 1st, you can start that $1,000 all over again. And we will accept that gladly. But
I love when finance, see how excited she gets. You know, finance people get excited when they talk about money, right?
right.
See how she got all excited, like, okay, this is what you can do.
I don't know, it's just got it honest. So yeah, so you can donate up to $1,000 up until 12/31 for this calendar year. And Connecticut state political action committees, if you know your missions align with us and you're like in what we're about and what we're trying to do, you can donate up to $2,000 for the calendar year. Now, there are, like I said, there are certain stipulations. The contributors, you must be a U.S. citizen or a foreign national with permanent status. So that is a requirement. Individuals under 18 years of age, you can only donate up to $30. It's greatly appreciated, but you only can donate up to $30. Now, we don't accept any funds from business entities, labor unions, candidate committees for statewide office, or probate judges, out-of-state PACs, and other excluded entities. So there are a few things, but you know, there's a lot of ways you can give. We did have our launch goal of $10,000. We actually are halfway there. So I think it's great because we only had one launch so far, and so I think we're on the way. And you know, hopefully after this chat, we can definitely continue for there. So there are a few ways you can donate though. So as Karen mentioned, our website will be launched by the end of this weekend. There is a link that you can actually go to on the website to donate, or you can actually enter the address. I'll provide it for you. secure.ana.com/Ella-S-fund/donation. Or what you can do is you can mail a check or money order to Ella's Fund, PAC, P.O. Box 4139, Hamden, Connecticut 06514. Now, if you do prefer to mail in a donation, you can reach us at lsfundpack@gmail.com, and we'll provide you an individual contributor form where you would have to answer those questions about whether you're, a U.S. citizen or foreign national. So that is required with your donation. If you are to send that to us without the form, we'll go ahead and send you the form back so you can fill it out. We'll send you an email, whichever way, but we appreciate, all that you can donate. So it's really important that, we continue to contribute and give back to our community. I strongly believe it is a village. The New Haven and Hampton communities are closely knit, and it's important that we continue to support each other in every way. I want to say Ella, she had a quote that really, really resonated with me, and I like to say it.
Go ahead. It might be the one I like too.
Okay. Oppressed people, whatever their level of formal education, have the ability to understand and interpret the world around them, to see the world for what it is, and to move to transform it. Now, it's important that we take that opportunity to educate ourselves and make those changes that are required for us and that benefit us. It's too many times that we're left in the dark, and no pun intended, but it is we have to find the light, and it's important that we continue to support each other. So, and it's a time for accountability right now. We have to hold each other accountable. And so if you have any questions, you can definitely contact us at lsfundpack@gmail.com, or, our individual Facebook pages will definitely be available.
Social media.
Yes,
we're up on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for Ellis Fund Pack. And our website is ellisfundpack.org. So visit us there and get more information on that as well. So, Babz, I'd love to know what your favorite.
I was going to say that. What's your quote? Yeah.
Oh, you already know. Until the killing of black men, black mothers' sons becomes as important to the rest of the country as the killing of white mothers' sons, we who believe in freedom cannot rest. And Sweet Honey in the Rock has an Ella song that speaks to these same words. And so, it's not lost on me that this song and these words were written so many years ago, and they are so very much relevant and with us to this day. So I so appreciate y'all coming on this morning. I'm excited to see what y'all do. I want to support, so feel free to come back and make this your home anytime you want to come back and update the community about what you're doing, who you're supporting, and however way we can use this platform for the good of our community. I want to do it. So this is your home. Feel free to call me. I'm like, Babz, we coming on Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever day. And we open the doors. So thank y'all for this. I appreciate
what you're doing for the community. LoveBabz, LoveTalk. So,
thank y'all. Good to see my sisters this morning. I will see y'all in these social media streets doing social justice work. So thank y'all. Enjoy your weekend.